It's about 11:30 in the morning on Saturday, July 15th, 2023. And I opened up a new area for the cows. Wanted to get here in the morning, but couldn't quite make it. The cows were taking shelter under the trees with the chickens. They seem to be doing pretty well. And then once I opened up this area, they start moving. I'm kind of standing on where the line was, and there was some goodies here. You see that grass? It's been eaten. This is grass yet to eat. You can see how tall these little shoots are with the seeds on the top. And you can also kind of see they got a lot of it, but not all of it. So it is hot right now because of the sun. It's probably only 85 degrees or so, but in the sunlight it feels a lot hotter. I swear the sun is closer to the earth here in Texas than it was up in Washington State. So, there's a little bit of a hill here. There's not much to report. The dogs are coming home, and I don't know if I can stop that. If I can get the sheep pinned up, then I'll put the dogs with them for like a month or so. Hopefully they'll bond with them again, but as far as I can tell, the dogs are bonded to us, the older ones. So I just guess I have to live with it. So the Pyrenees breed is more of a guard dog. It's not really a shepherd dog. It won't move the sheep for you, but it will protect the sheep. And so its instinct is to stay near the thing it's protecting, the group, and then protect it from danger. And typically the way it does that is it barks. And the loud barking of that dog tends to chase everything away. The few things that aren't smart enough to leave when they're barked at are hunted. And these dogs are quite big, and there's not a lot out here that can take them down. So, and you know, of course, one of the concerns I have is that these dogs are big and they know how to fight, and if one of them were to flip and decide to attack me or someone I care about, that would be pretty devastating. You know, I've never seen them attack a human. They seem to act very reserved in the presence of humans, but it's not something you can rule out completely. All animals, even pets, are still animals. So, and I talked a while back about the anthropomorphication, where we humans have a nasty habit of pretending that animals are just small humans. And we also assign human attributes to plants and inanimate objects as well. So, like cars, we might talk to the car and tell it to do something, but of course the car is just a machine. But and so people that aren't too familiar with animals and haven't been around them very much and aren't really used to the concept that animals exist for a purpose, to serve humans in one way or the other. They think that it's cruel or weird to eat animals, when that is what the animals would do to you if given the chance. And humans are, after all, a kind of animal. So there's nothing more natural than eating another animal, especially apex predators like ourselves. In fact, our entire body is designed to run on animal flesh. That's just the most natural food source for us, the most healthy food source. Grains and other things like that are not quite as nutritious as raw flesh. Not raw flesh, cooked flesh. But sometimes raw flesh too. You can see here the goat weed is kind of thick. There's a lot of grass growing up between it though. It's not as thick as where the goat weed isn't though. Something's eating the leaves of the goat weed, which I would encourage. The goat weed is providing ground cover. It's keeping the soil a little bit cooler. it is helping water get into the soil when it rains. So I'd rather have a field of goatweed than a field of nothing. You know, of course it's optimum to have grass. But even the grass needs other species of plants to supplement it and help it to grow. The phrase monoculture and polyculture refer to the number of different kinds of things you have growing in your pasture. And for a long time, we focused on monoculture. So you take a barren field and you plant corn and you grow corn, and that's it, nothing else. And if anything else grows in that field, that's a deviance from the plan. And so you take measures to prevent that from happening. And the problem is that the monoculture requires a lot of work, a lot of inputs, and it damages the soil over time. Polyculture is the way nature likes to work. Nature has a lot of different kinds of things that are growing, not just plants, but bacteria, funguses, insects, from tiny insects you can't see all the way up to the ones you can, and everything in between. And they all have their role to play. And nature is able to maintain a balance, and the way it does that is it will grow different things in different areas, and by growing that, it changes the soil. So these weeds, these goatweed, it's telling me that the soil isn't optimum for grass, but it's also telling me to let it do its thing. The goatweed, in my experience, the areas where I had lots of goatweed last year, there's hardly any goatweed. And the areas where we didn't have much goatweed, there's plenty of goatweed. In fact, this whole area here along the pond was all burned, and last year we didn't get any goatweed at all. Now there's plenty of goatweed growing there. So while I didn't intend to grow goatweed in this pasture, nature did, and I'm going to let nature do her thing. And the theory is, as long as I keep the cows doing their thing, it'll encourage the grass to grow and take over. And so next year, hopefully the grass will be so thick and strong, the goatweed won't even be able to take root, or even better, the soil will change such that goatweed doesn't want to grow. You know. But that said, even like the bad patches of goatweed, there's plenty of grass in between. And the cows do nibble on the goatweed. The longhorns especially. So they like the goatweed. I've seen cows run into a pasture and just start eating goatweed. Run to the goatweed and just start eating it. So, and another thing too is, like, we get cravings for certain foods. And if we're eating healthy foods and we get a craving for something that's healthy, that's our body telling us we need something in that food. You know? And the cows are the same way. The cows know better what they need than I do. And I can't sit here and run formulas and calculate and take measurements of the cow's gut or whatever and figure out what they need. It's better to let the cows figure that out for themselves. If they decide they need more goatweed in their diet, then they can eat more goatweed. If they decide that goatweed isn't right for them, then let me back up a little. They can not take the goatweed at all. And there's other plants in the soil too besides goatweed and grass. Now let me just show you kind of what I'm talking about. The goatweed doesn't completely kill the grass. Get out of this sun here. You see there's stuff growing down there that's not goatweed. Oh yeah, one more. See that grass growing down there? So, yeah, so even in the densest part of goatweed, there's still stuff growing in between it. And I think the goatweed doesn't get much taller than this. I think this is about it. So I'm told the goatweed is a perennial. If you leave it alone, it'll stick around till next year. But in my experience, they all die. by the middle of winter, they're all dead and falling over. They're just stalks. So, all right, that's all I have for you today, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.